So this is a book, Care Personified. The accounts of Sheila Prabhupada's disciples about his care in various areas, and devotees have made 16 chapters. We can say 16 areas of care or related to care for devotees. And we can start with chapter 1. The soldier's discipline and the Bengali mother's compassion combined, smashing their pride with love. So I will read, and then sometimes I will stop and comment if something really strikes me as important. I will read text by text. They are not very long. (1975), San Francisco. Just a hick from Kansas. Vishoka Das. Before I entered the room, I was thinking of how the disciple should always feel a fool before the spiritual master. I had not problem feeling the fool, but there was a vestige of pride in my heart. It was like I was thinking, well, here I am getting initiated by the greatest acharya that was ever on the planet. Even though this was philosophically correct, I was feeling unnecessary pride in my heart, and I was mentally tooting my own horn, so to speak. Srila Prabhupada looked at me and saw right through me and immediately detected the pride. Srila Prabhupada could read others' minds. He gave me a hard look and a sarcastic smile that cut to me quick, totally devastating my petty pride. Although I was raised in Kansas, and although I never thought of myself as a hick, always thinking I was a city slicker, I had only one thought in my mind at that time. I'm just a hick from Kansas, and that is all I am, nothing more. It was as if Srila Prabhupada projected this humbling thought into my brain. (1972), Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, encouraging but firm in principles. Srila Prabhupada was a very smart preacher. He knew very well how to encourage people according to the abilities and intelligence of the person. Daniel helped in so many ways the Hare Krishna movement. Then his divine grace mentioned about the ashram in Puerto Vallarta. So far this ashram in Puerto Vallarta, we are not taking that place or lease or rent. Only if he gives it to us we can manage. It is a very nice place and I want to come there for spending some time, but he had told me it is our ISKCON place, so he should make a good promise and give it to Krishna. Otherwise, we shall not take it. Letter from 1972. No fault finding. Nanda Kumar Das. It's embarrassing to say this, but once Prabhupada told me that I was the king of fault finders. When I tried to share with the other devotees what Prabhupada taught me, due to my ego, it sounded like I was finding fault with them. And there was some of that there. So one of Prabhupada's instructions to me was to give up fault finding, to accept and apply all his instructions, and not worry about what anybody else was doing. Now this is extremely relevant for us, that we should focus on what we can do right instead of thinking what other people are doing wrong. Many people waste time by always looking into the faults of others. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta has also said that it's better to look on your own wrongdoings, on your own faults, than to criticize others. So this is a very unproductive habit, and this is something that we should stop. Now, if something is wrong and needs to be corrected, we can say it, but we don't think about it 24 hours a day, and we don't unnecessarily speak about it or expand it unlimitedly. So it's very important to just focus on personal positive service, and because this Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, and if we meditate on faults, we will drown, and we will not be able to survive. Kali Yuga is Kalir Dosha Nidhi, an ocean of faults. So Srila Prabhupada is teaching this particular disciple about fault finding. Yes?
But it also applies to ourselves, that we should not find faults in ourselves constantly, but rather focus on positive.
Yeah, that's a good point. There should be a balance between being strict and soft with oneself. We shouldn't be too lenient with ourselves, but we should also not criticize ourselves too much, especially beat ourselves up because of past mistakes. But we should avoid future mistakes, and we should be careful not to repeat them. And if it happens that we make, again, some mistake due to conditioning, that we should learn from that and move on, but be careful not to repeat them.
Again, about this, can we sometimes observe other people's mistakes and learn from them also?
Can we sometimes observe other people's mistakes?
It's like it's in a way it could be also considered as being critical, or but not to speak about it, so more like, okay, seeing this is not maybe not so nice thing to do, and not to do it myself.
Should we learn from other people's mistakes? The answer is yes. Intelligent people learn by hearing and seeing. Actually, in Upadeshamrita, Prabhupada says that intelligent people learn by hearing, and less intelligent people learn by seeing, but even less intelligent people learn by making mistakes. But even less intelligent people don't learn even after making mistakes. They repeat the same mistakes again and again. So, of course, we will see other people's mistakes, because that will inevitably happen in our lives. So this habit, we have to root it out, and if we catch the mind doing this, we should say stop. Srila Prabhupada gives an example of a fly and the bee. So yesterday, or not yesterday, the other day, we spoke about be a bee, not a fly. Be like always look for the nectar, always look for the best in people, and don't look for the imperfections. This is a nice lesson. Care is our responsibility. Dayananda Das. Once, few of us were in Prabhupada's garden when Nanda Kumar was his servant. After some time, Prabhupada wanted to go inside, and we walked with him behind the temple into his quarters. Downstairs from Prabhupada's quarters, there was a room with some cupboards, and some of the Krishna book paintings were sticking out from one of the cupboards. Other paintings were on the floor, leaning against the wall. Prabhupada noticed that the Krishna book paintings were not nicely protected and said, "Why are these here? What are these doing here?" Nanda Kumar said, "I don't know, Prabhupada. It's not my responsibility." Prabhupada shot back, It is to your responsibility." That was a clear indication that Prabhupada expected his disciples to take responsibility for things that they saw in his movement. Now this is very instructive. Many people say, "Well, that's not my responsibility." Like if something is wrong, something is broken, something is not clean. But the responsible devotee will do his best to correct things, to make things nice for Krishna, and or maybe arrange for these things to be done instead of criticizing. For example, if maybe this floor is not clean in the corridor, then instead of thinking, "Oh, why nobody's cleaning?" we should take it as an opportunity and look for the brush or a wiper and then clean it ourselves. I know an actress from London who is also a devotee. She is a very nice person, and she told me last time I was in London that when she sees a paper on the street, she picks it up and throws it into the garbage. Now, it may seem like nothing or like insignificant act, but actually it shows the level of consciousness. She's taking responsibility for a clean city. If every citizen would take responsibility for a clean city, then we will have clean cities. So, and similarly here in the temple or anywhere, we want to take responsibility because everything is Krishna's energy. That's a nice lesson. Okay, now I will jump to the second chapter. From heart to heart, serving, giving, and appreciating. Mayapur, 1977. His laughter was their laughter. Who is this PD? It says PD, but I don't know who PD is. It just says PD. I don't know. Eventually, Srila Prabhupada traveled on to Bhubaneswar and then to Mayapur for the annual festival. It was especially sweet that year. One night, we all watched a play with Prabhupada in the audience. When Srila Prabhupada laughed, the entire crowd laughed. In fact, I think that we were watching Prabhupada more than we were watching the play on stage. What a joy to be with our spiritual master in such a relaxed and happy setting. So although Prabhupada's mission was very serious, basically his mission is a question of life and death, but he was very humorous, and he would sometimes laugh and make some humorous remarks, and sometimes he would tell devotees jokes and stories, especially Bengali jokes, that nobody understood. So devotees would laugh, although they wouldn't understand the point, but they would laugh because Prabhupada would laugh. So here is an example where he laughed during the play, during the performance, theatrical performance. (1975) San Francisco. Yes, I know you are here. The next day we were having the parade, and Srila Prabhupada got out of his car to ride on Subhadra's cart. As he was walking toward the cart, he did a 180-degree turnaround and looked directly into my eyes. There were hundreds of people there, but he seemed to look right into my eyes alone. It was as if he was saying, "Yes, I know you are here. I've heard many stories like this from other devotees. We all had this similar experience with Srila Prabhupada, sort of like how Krishna was with all the gopis, but each gopi thought he was with her alone. It is a mystical thing, and since other devotees have told me the same thing, I suppose I was not delirious to think that it actually happened to me. Please come back. November 65. Prabhupada Das. I was in a very desperate state. I was brought up middle class in Brooklyn in a Jewish TV dinner kind of background, kind of pampered, I guess. And here I was out on the streets in a dangerous part of town with no money and affected by LSD and my own unbalanced mind. So I came to Prabhupada to ask him. Rather than asking him how could I somehow become more stable or for some normal approach to my problem, I was just thinking of one thing. I asked Swamiji, I told him, I work hard all day long. I am like you. I am also spreading the word. I am also speaking to the people. And I thought I was preaching something. Srila Prabhupada just looked at me, shook his head, and he spoke to me very strongly, and he said, simply join us. We will solve all your problems. Of course, in hindsight, we under no more birth, no more death, no more disease, no more old age. At that point, he handed me a cloth. I thought it was a dhoti and I rejected it. I started stepping backwards. So as I was kind of walking backwards towards the door, I told him I'm not quite ready, in a very halting manner. As I was going out the door, Srila Prabhupada had his hand on the door frame, and I distinctly remember he had a tear coming out of his eyes, and he said, "Please come back," just like that. November 65, sweet words, Mandakini Devi. Mandakini Devi Mataji is a devotee from France, I believe, who actually was one of the first devotees who wrote me a letter in the 80s. In the 1982, she wrote me a few beautiful letters that really attracted me to Krishna consciousness. And she was a great cook. She used to cook for Srila Prabhupada, probably when he was in France or in England. And she also used to come to Croatia. And Harinam, we went, I believe, 3 times on Harinam. In the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening until night, to Piccadilly Circus, that's in London. When we were coming, it was to take a little prasadam, or to see the arti and to read Bhagavad Gita and whatever scriptures we have. So we were fully absorbed. So it was really our meditation, this Harinam. We used to meditate on hearing and chanting the holy name, trying not to be distracted from all the crowd and all the shop windows. And actually, we got so absorbed that everybody was feeling full of bliss and joy. When we first joined and Prabhupada saw us dancing with our nylon bright pink and blue saris, he was very kind. He said, "These young girls, they're just flowers blowing in the wind." Okay, so we will go to the next chapter. Attention to special needs. Understanding, caring for women, children, and teenagers. Give them engagement. Prabhupada, no, develop that business and give engagement. The women can live here for suing. They must be comfortably situated. If they are feeling women, they cannot feel very bad and stay. We do not want that, so they can live here in a room and work sewing. And our women who have learned, they can teach. Very simple, and men must be engaged there for finishing. And if at Aligarh they are casting, then there is no difference and there is no difficulty. This is in Vrindavan. Importance of caring for children. Arundhati Dasi. When my son Aniruddha was 1.5 or 2 years old, we lived in Coconut Grove, Florida, and I started doing full-time deity service while some other devotees took care of Aniruddha. I thought, here's my chance to do a really important service. In a letter I mentioned my service to Sheila Prabhupada. Prabhupada wrote back, taking care of the children is just as important as doing deity worship. One service is not more important than another. These children aren't ordinary children. They are Vaikuntha children. They have been sent by Krishna himself. He told me to stop doing deity worship and to take care of Aniruddha. Yes?
We know that for the last decades, women and children were not being dealt well in our society.
Right.
So can you speak a little about this? Maybe I have many things in my head, but no time. Maybe this the sannyasi preaching of renunciation may help to people think, oh, women, children, no good for spiritual life, just focus on Krishna. So maybe this, can you speak a little about this?
Yeah, this is the first 30, 40 years of ISKCON. We were like a pioneer movement, and everybody was into preaching mission, and there was stress to renunciation and the brahmachari life or sannyas life, but social development and family development was neglected. But now these things are changing, and there is a Grihastha Vision team who is teaching devotees how to take care of families and especially marriages, because so many marriages are breaking. So we are responsible now to establish a caring environment for children, women, old people, and for everyone else, and not repeat the same mistakes. So it is true that the preaching was fanatical, we can say, and was not suited to social development, but because we are international society for Krishna consciousness, we have to take into consideration social development, family development. Without family development, there is no social development. There has to be strong families. So, unfortunately, still there is problems. I meet devotees who have problems in their marriage, sometimes with their children, and they don't they were never sufficiently educated what is marriage and how to approach it and how precious it is, how important it is to help each other and to put Krishna in the center. So now we have to educate people and help them to stay in marriage. And that's why couples need counseling. They need premarital counseling. And in that premarital counseling, they learn how to help each other, how to live and serve with each other, and how to take care of children in a Krishna conscious way. So here, Srila Prabhupada has instructed a disciple to stop deity worship and to take care of a son. So that's very, very important. It doesn't mean we should stop serving Krishna and stop deity worship, but the priority is a soul that is entrusted to us, the child, to be taken care of, and Srila Prabhupada has given clear instruction that this boy is a priority at the moment. So these are some of the things I can say about that. Is that okay?
It's a big deal, so there is no time to speak.
You can write a book if you want.
Yes, so you also. So, yeah.
I don't know if I can say more than this, but if you want to help to establish a culture, different culture. But first, I recommend that you read the Devotee Care Journal, Devotee Care Guidebook, and this whole book, and get inspiration and learn about Prabhupada's spirit, and then write something, that will help to create a better future and prevent mistakes from the past. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So you're here in Lisbon, and you have an opportunity to take care of yourself and to take care of others, and that's a service that is very, very dear to Krishna. If you look at the Chaitanya Charitamrita, if you look at any Shastra, there is so much care expressed and manifested in the dealings of devotees, in the dealings of Krishna with devotees, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, in the dealings of devotees with each other, or spiritual masters with devotees. There is also problems, but there is also many stories that show care. Our own life, every one of us has an opportunity to become an example of a caring devotee. And we have all the guidelines that we need in order to do that service. And we can learn from the resources provided by the Devotee Care Committee. And from other sources, you can get inspiration from anywhere for caring, and apply it and use it in the service of devotees. Recently, I have come across a book called Become a Go-Giver. It's not a goal giver, it's a go-giver. Go-giver, like go-getter is somebody who goes and gets something, and go-giver is a person who goes somewhere and gives something. So nowadays in business, they are teaching to be a giving person, and that's the good for business. And even there is, the same author has a website, Go-Givers Sell More. So one who has this giving mentality, he actually can sell more, he can make more money. So this is there is another book called The Power of Giving. So sometimes I read or parts or the whole book. Some books that speak about a specific principle from the scriptures, and they expand it and they give you practical ideas how to apply it. This second book is called The Power of Giving, and it was written by a Sufi and a Christian, by a Muslim and a Christian. They wrote a book together. Because the principle of giving is common for all religions. Everywhere there is a principle of charity, giving, helping others, giving service, giving what people need. So you have an opportunity to become a caregiver in any way you can, in any way possible. You can choose whom you want to serve and express care. And if you start doing this, it will be very pleasing to Krishna, and it will help you to make spiritual advancement more quick than until now. Because this is a very, very important service and very dear to Krishna. And today I was listening to the audio book by Bhakti Tirtha Swami called Beggar. He is reading his own book, where he was giving certain points about his reflections about Krishna and devotees and service. And he has published many books, probably about 20 books, and they actually give a lot of good points about care, how to take care of yourself and how to take care of others. And he was making one amazing point today that I want to share with you. He was saying, beggar is actually a set of prayers, his prayers. And he was praying to the Lord, my dear Lord, how can I understand that a loving God like you allows so much suffering to happen, and especially your devotees are suffering so much? It seems that your devotees suffer even more than anyone else in many situations. And then he explains it, explains how he understands this. And I want to stress one principle of care that is most important according to one Swami who is very successful in developing a caring community. His name is Niranjan Swami. We know that Radhanath Maharaj also has developed a caring community in Mumbai, and he's preaching the same message wherever he goes. And he goes, as far as I know, everywhere, all over the world. Satchidananda Swami also preaches about caring communities, communities of care. And Jayapataka Maharaj also. There is more leaders who preach about care, but those four that I mentioned, I know distinctly that they actually it's a very important focus of their preaching and service, that they speak about devotee care and try to inspire and teach devotees about devotee care and also exemplify. So when I was in Italy, Maharaj was giving class in one devotee's home, Niranjana Maharaj, and we asked him about devotee care, and he said that the most important aspect of devotee care is to strengthen devotee's faith. Because when faith of the devotee is strong, then he can do anything, he can go through anything, he can persist in anything, he can be determined, he can understand what's happening, he can make sense of things, he will not lose enthusiasm if he has faith. So we can help devotees to develop strong faith. And of course we can help them with all other things, that their needs, different needs, but this spiritual connection with the Lord and faith in the Lord is very important. It's most important. From that, all auspiciousness will come. So if you're in front of someone and you're helping them, remember that how can I help this person develop greater faith in the Lord and in His love and in His care? Because Krishna is our greatest well-wisher, and actually it's not easy to understand that when we see so much suffering and when we sometimes experience so much suffering. But everything has a purpose, and if we understand the purpose of these difficulties that we go through, then it will be easier to have faith that Krishna is Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam, which means the greatest well-wisher. The greatest well-wisher. The well-wisher of all living entities. Yesterday I was a little bit surprised. I read the book that Rupa Vilas Prabhu gave me. I was surprised because I know the author, this woman, is a very intelligent person and very caring person. But she's, I think she's impersonalistic or something. She's very intelligent, but at the same time, she doesn't understand God and our position, and she has her own philosophy. She's a very powerful spiritual teacher. At least this is how they call her. But I read something that shocked me, and I felt again very fortunate that I am in this movement where Srila Prabhupada has given such a clear standard of values of what is right and what is wrong that makes the most sense to me. So she was saying how she had a lunch with the family and there was some ants, and then she was saying how she was crushing the ants because they are disturbing her and entering the salad, and she was saying how she's not the one who is killing them. So I was really, really surprised that she does this. She doesn't understand that you have no right to take anyone's life. So we are so fortunate. Srila Prabhupada has given us some sanity that we understand what is right, what is wrong. And also, if we read Prabhupada's books, we will imbibe his spirit, and then mistakes, like you are mentioning, of fanaticism and, neglecting people will not be made again. And we are responsible now to make sure that this does not happen. There is no use of just dwelling and meditating on the past mistakes. We should take responsibility now and make sure that this movement is the most caring movement on the planet. We not only care for the body, we care for the soul, and that's most important. But we will not neglect the material aspects of life because we are still in the body, we still have to function here. So please think about how you can contribute to the effort of taking care of yourself and of others. And if you don't take care of yourself, it will be very difficult to take care of others. So first you have to take care of yourself, body, mind, and spirit, and then you will be able to help everybody else. We can have time for 1 or 2 questions, and then we will finish. It's almost 8, but we can take a few minutes for a question.
You think that nowadays devotees are trying to change this mentality of increasing the caring of devotees' needs, not only spiritual but also material needs? You think that you travel all around now, and are you watching this? Are you seeing this? That is changing this mentality in the temples, especially because most of devotees they live on their own. They take their business or jobs, families, but in the temple's surroundings, you can see that this is changing right now. Or
the question is, because I'm traveling around the world, do I think that the culture of care is changing? And
if there is caring now, because maybe in the last decades, this caring was not so obvious.
Yeah, that's the same thing. So if there is more care, if caring is manifesting more, this is part of my service to help to actually make this happen. And I'm trying to encourage local devotees and local leaders to do something about the care. And here we have a few devotees who are forming a devotee care team. And the best way actually is to form a local devotee care team, and then they start to develop the whole culture of care and the program. And there are so many things already going on which are related to care, but we have to somehow unify this and give it more importance and make it more strong and more prominent and provide better care for devotees. So there is developments in all the countries basically I visit. In some countries it goes slower, in some countries it goes faster, but everywhere there is some movement regarding the care, some growth, some development, and everybody agrees we need it, but not very many people step forward to take responsibility and to start caring, showing care for others, and developing this program. So we need devotees who will take care of each other and take care of everyone else. And this is what the team is trying to do. Yes?
This taking responsibility and do action in the sense of developing care. This normally happens mainly between friends, or even as an official service. You see it happen with like if you have an office for devotee care and a devotee comes and it happens, or mainly is a natural thing between friends.
I think we should develop both sides, better care between friends, and also have an official office or a team that people can contact and get guidance or counsel about how to take care of themselves or how to take care of others. So if we grow the culture of care, then in every aspect of life the care will be manifested more. So we need it everywhere. Okay, thank you very much. We can stop here. Sheila Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada ki